I'm Will Richards, and this is The Dash, an insight to the success story of people from all walks of life in their chosen field, from your average Joe to people in the limelight. If you're looking to level up, stick with us. This just might help. It's quite important to state that this is a selling point for you, really. This is like an advert now. You don't actually charge people. You earn your money from booking holidays.
Absolutely. So for me, there's no fee for using my service, and that's the reason for that is I'll get my commission from the airline or the hotels or whoever it could be.
The first post that I saw is you pictured with Mr. Richard Branson, who is, you were a guest of Richard Branson at Necker Island.
Yes. But for me, I got this call, and it was from Virgin. We would like you to come out to Necker Island, and they'd heard my name, they'd heard it throughout the industry, and they wanted to invite a number of agents, only a handful of the best agents in the country, to go out and experience.
You were number one.
Well, touch wood.
Yeah.
And when we were there, we were literally a guest of Sir Richard's for, God, I think it's 5 nights now. Sat down at dinner one night, and all of a sudden he appears, walks in the room, and I had a space spare opposite me, and he came up to me and said, "Oh, excuse me, is anyone sitting there?"
You?
Yeah. I said, "No, absolutely not." And he sat down and did 2 hours just sitting there talking, asking about my business.
I bet you couldn't believe your luck.
Invited as well, a similar kind of thing to the Richard Branson thing, by a guy called Mr. Un, who is a billionaire out in Singapore.
Right.
And his company had heard of me. And he owns a number of hotels all around the world. A couple of these are in the Maldives, but he wanted to invite again a handful of agents, the best agents in the UK, to come out to Singapore. And he owned the rights to the Singapore Grand Prix. So he flew us out there business class, he hosted us at his hotel, and he gave us VIP access to the Singapore Grand Prix. So we were
Oh my goodness. How are you?
Very good.
Good stuff. Well, thank you for coming in and taking some time out because of your very busy schedule. Dan Salmon, ladies and gents, the guy that owns Never a Wasted Journey. Let's set the scene a little bit. Never a Wasted Journey is, I'm going to be offensive, and
You go.
it's a travel agent, but you're way, way more than that. So let's talk through the details of this. How have you become such a huge success in your industry, and what exactly makes you different?
Of course. So, I've worked many years in London for other travel companies. I was spending 20 hours a week on a train commuting, and I just knew it wasn't for me. I think I had a bit more of a drive in me than that.
Right.
And it was great. Don't get me wrong. I used all the experience that I had, went on some incredible places as well. But for me, I always want to set myself a challenge, and that's where I came up with the idea of creating my own company. Trying to get the name for it, Dan's Travel, wasn't going to quite work.
Right, yeah.
So I wanted something different that was going to stick in people's minds, and that's where it was, Never a Wasted Journey. So for me, I just found that everyone who books holiday, it's just another number.
Yeah.
They just want to kind of hit their targets, book another holiday. Once you've done a booking, that's it, you're off. But I wanted to offer people more than that. So for me, I get fully involved, as I always have, with every single quote that I do. I like to have a good chat with people. I like to get to know exactly what their likes are, dislikes, what they want from their holiday. And then I go away and obviously using my knowledge and contacts, put together some really incredible itineraries for them as well. And at the same time, I know people are busy and they've got busy lives. They need someone who can step in and kind of take control of booking their holidays. I think travel is so important to people. It's their time to spend quality time with their loved ones or escape reality, whatever it may be. Yeah. And at the same time, there's so many options online. So there's so many websites you can go on. Technology is incredible, but it doesn't give that human touch, if you like. So for me, I'm there 24/7. It's more of a kind of personal booking experience as well. And it's there to kind of create these memories which will just stay in their lifetime, stay in their memories for a lifetime.
Right. So we've got some mutual connections that we won't name, people that are, have used your services and whatever, as well as some, again, we won't name, but some world famous people. Now you are creating experiences that are not just off the shelf. These aren't, I mean, I'm sure the typical options are available.
Absolutely.
But these are once in a lifetime. I mean, can you talk through some of the experiences that you've gone through?
So I think you hit the nail on the head. When I first started, it was about kind of booking whatever I could, whatever people wanted to do. So that was your standard beach holiday, It might be to the Caribbean, it might be a European beach break, but then I've suddenly found a bit of a change in the trend. So I jumped on that ahead of everyone else.
Right.
And people wanted more of an experience from their time away. So instead of just sitting on a sunbed, lovely as it is, they wanted to get more from their holiday.
Right,
so
yeah.
For me, I was looking at ways I could do that. I was making contacts worldwide. I was travelling to these locations that people had never been to before. And it's really kind of looking to create, being different to anyone else out there. I think it's such a competitive market, but if you've got something that you can offer that's different to people, then that's what I obviously aim to do. So for me, it could be anything from afternoon tea with royalty in India. I arranged private dinners with Nelson Mandela's former prison guard turned friend. You can get a helicopter trip over Robben Island. It goes on and on and on. So for me, it's just making these really unique experiences. What I found, especially coming out of COVID, was that is exactly what people wanted.
Yeah.
They were so fed up of being stuck in their four walls.
Of course,
they wanted to go out and see the world kind of worldwide again. And for me, that's when I could kind of step in. So
100%. You mentioned earlier on your contacts.
Yes.
Now, I'm not going to ask them who they are. That's your business.
Yeah.
How on earth have you built these contacts? Because to be able to get Nelson Mandela's previous bodyguard, right? Is that right? Prison guard,
yes.
sorry.
Yeah.
Who's going to have some incredible stories.
Yes. Yeah.
How do you do that? Because you're a local lad to here.
Chelmsford.
You're a Chelmsford born and bred lad like me, right? I don't have those contacts. Now, obviously, you've got a very different set of network to me.
Yeah.
But how has that happened?
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's been hard. But it's for me, I just had that drive. I never want to just offer something that's standard. I'm always looking for things that are different.
Of course,
I think it's helped me where I kind of travel to all these locations
Yeah.
worldwide. That really helps, not only to give the personal recommendations and make sure the places are up to scratch or spot on or offering something different, but it is making these contacts. So
that's incredible.
I'll go out there, I'll research it, and I've been quite lucky. I've won a few awards in the industry, so for me, I've got a name out there, so people do actually approach me as well to kind of offer me their experiences or have discussions. And I've got people in Nigeria who now book with me. I've got people all over the world, but we can talk about that later.
That's insane.
But it is just putting yourself out there, and it's great. And I think, like we were saying, that there's something I did offer that was quite unique, and that was obviously the Xbox details.
Yeah.
And then these families come to me and they said, look, we want something different. The kids can put their games console down, and instead they'll go away to Africa. They'll shoot their own wildlife documentary with an award-winning producer on safari. So things
as you do. The norm.
Yeah.
The norm.
So for me, it's just putting yourself out there, really researching it, seeing who's got a good name. And then just reaching out, making contact with them, going out to see the places, and then in return you can come back and offer something different to people. Which is
incredible. You mentioned when we spoke previously that you are selling, the wrong word, selling, you're creating these experiences to the tune of like 1.5 million a year now. Which is insane money.
It's nice. I think where you put in the hard work, it's 24/7 job, don't get me wrong, but when you do get the rewards like that and you see how far you've driven the business, and for me, I do it all single-handedly.
You're on your own.
On my own, yeah, exactly. And there's a reason. So the reason I did it, first of all, I thought, let it start on my own, no risk, working from home, and we could see how it went on. If it all went wrong, then I'll go back to London or whatever. But for me, the first year was tough because obviously you've booked everyone's holidays for the year ahead, all your existing clients, and you've got to try and build it and get the name out there. So I spent that time really working on my social media, trying to think of the name, designing the website. So I was ready to go at the end of that first year. And but for me, I'm really, in a way, I suppose I'm quite precious. I have a really good relationship with my clients. Everyone who gets in touch, I like to get to know exactly what they like in their holidays, when their kids' birthdays are, send them a birthday card or something like that. So it's building those relationships. And as you said, I speak to people 11 o'clock at night. Everyone lives busy lives, so it might be a early call before work, late in the evening when the kids are to bed. So for me, I offer that flexibility, which people love because I think it allows them to really focus on their travel plans. They haven't got to go and sit in a travel agency as you used to if you have 4 hours on their free time. And so from then I've just kind of continued it. It's worked. It's gone really, really well. And I think because I'm dealing with high level kind of inquiries that come in, like high net worth individuals, sports personalities, celebrities, etc., you haven't got to turn over as many bookings. If I was doing many, many low budget ones, then I would have to be doing a lot of bookings.
So you can spend more time on less numbers which makes sense. And just to put in perspective, I hope you don't mind me saying this. your turnover for holidays there and what you'd sold as these experiences could be 10 holidays. People could pay £150,000 for a holiday, which look isn't normal. Okay, for the average Joe is insane, but let's not restrict it there. You do everyone. You
Absolutely.
look after every aspect.
Exactly right. And I think for when you're talking at that level, it obviously depends, but then you really have to make sure the holiday is going to go well for them. So you're managing the whole booking from the time they book the holiday or make the initial inquiry all the way to before they go. You're booking all their restaurants for them. So it's not just, okay, we're booking the holiday and that's it. They'll get a complimentary concierge service. So as I said, we'll book kids clubs, restaurants, spa treatments. So when they go, they can literally relax and just enjoy every moment of it. When they get to the airport, I include meet and greet services. They'll go to the front of the queue. They won't have to, you know what the queues were like coming out of COVID. It was horrendous.
Yeah.
And for me, they were going to the front of the queue. Their luggage can even be picked up from their house and be waiting in their hotel room when they get there.
Wow.
I've even got an option where you can actually have your own check-in terminal. So if you go to Heathrow or wherever it may be, you haven't got to go to the crowds.
Right.
You can have your own terminal.
I need to up my holiday budget.
Yeah.
I think that's what needs to happen. That's incredible. These are life-changing experiences, you know. And sometimes for some people, if you want to spend that extra bit for your honeymoon, whatever it may be.
And that's another thing. So through these contacts, people who are booking, you've got to offer something extra. So it might be a room upgrade or couple spa treatment or a beach dinner under the stars, whatever that may be, and that's all free. So if they book with me through my relationships, they'll get that included automatically.
And it's quite important to state that this is a selling point for you, really. This is like an advert now. You don't actually charge people.
No.
You earn your money from booking holidays.
Absolutely. So for me, there's no fee for using my service, and that's one of the main questions I get asked. How much does it cost to use you? And there's nothing. And the reason for that is I'll get my commission from the airline or the hotels or whoever it could be. And if anything, people say, well, your holidays must be more expensive. But again, it's not.
If anything, you're getting more for the money.
Exactly right. And with the contracts we've got with the hotels and the airlines, it actually works out better value to be booking it as a package with me because you're getting it at a cheaper cost. So really, it's a win-win for people. And then obviously, if you book these, whatever experiences you're going to be, there's an extra fee for that. But that's what people want to pay for. I think they work hard. Time away is important.
100%, yeah.
They really want to maximise it, especially the families, I think, who their kids won't be with them forever, so they really want to make those magical holidays.
Yeah, exactly. Whilst they're young and not annoying and costing you a bomb, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So look, a lot of people understand now that you've created a fantastic business, but the most important thing, and why people are watching, is the how. Yeah. Now, you went through some horrific times. We all went through COVID, which is a horrible time. But what year did you create the business?
So I've had it for 10 years now.
Right, okay.
So coming up to 10 years.
It's coming up to 10 years. It's mad to say this, but COVID was 4.5, 5 years ago now.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's insane to say. But that was... because it was one of the most challenging times for you. Yeah. You didn't necessarily lose money, but let's go for the process of where you had to refund because of the situation, right? So what's happened there?
So for me, COVID, as you said, everyone I think had a really difficult time, but I think especially for the travel industry, it came to a standstill. It was like someone turned a tap off and it was out of your control. So what you do is you build all these bookings up, you know what your cash flow is going to be coming up for the year ahead or whatever it may be, and suddenly that stops.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that you can do about it. So for me, I had a good think. I thought, how am I going to deal with this? It's something that is, as we said, out of your control, but we've got to kind of stand up and deal with it. So for me, I put myself in the client's shoes. I said, if that was me booking a holiday, how would I want to be treated?
Yeah.
And I wanted to be fair to them. So where there's many companies who weren't giving refunds, they were using credits, people were spending hours and hours of their free time on hold to an airline, say BA Holidays or whoever it may be. They were sending endless emails and getting no replies. I did everything. I stepped in. So I was dealing with all the hotels and airlines on the client's behalf. And I refunded every single booking.
To the tune of?
Over £2 million over a 2-year period.
Now that's a shiver down my spine.
Yeah.
Right, okay. So, yeah, these are funds that are basically been paid to you to create the holiday. So not only did you have to, rightly so, refund the money, you did it immediately, within 2 weeks, right?
2 weeks.
Everyone was refunded. That's a big old trade. Your bank must have been calling you. Go, is everything all right?
Exactly. What's going on?
Yeah, you've been held hostage. So not only did you do that, you only pulled £1,000 of commission over 10 months.
That's right. Yeah.
Mad.
Yeah.
Done my research.
Yeah. But that's exactly it. And it was tough. And you look back at it and think, was I mad doing that? But it couldn't have been further from the truth. So I think we got through it. I spent New Year's Eve getting phone calls from people who had failed PCR tests. Not everyone's social life went out the window. But
Of course.
I was on call 24 hours a day. Boxing Day, I had people literally taking a PCR test, about to go on holiday. Next day, failed, couldn't go. So then you have to step in. And I think I've heard so many stories of people who got stranded abroad. They were turning up at hotels that weren't open. So you've really got to be on top of your game to make sure that if they are going to get away, everything's going to be fine. And then if anything does come up last minute, I had clients who were on honeymoon in South Africa. They were due to go to Mauritius the next day, and Mauritius went onto the red list. So if they had gone to Mauritius, when they got back, it was hotel quarantine.
Oh, God.
For things like that, we completely changed their itinerary. We found them an equivalent option in South Africa.
Yeah.
Kind of in the vineyards, etc. So they could still have a great honeymoon. Slightly different, but still a great experience for them. And by being that flexible, it's really kind of stood me in a good stead, because I've got now the trust of my clients.
Of course.
That's built up, and it's word of mouth. That's what really, really helped me out coming out of COVID.
Yeah.
From then we haven't looked back, and touch wood.
I'm not sure if there's any in that,
no.
But find something quick. It's very commendable what you've done. You created something that is an incredible business. Yourself alone. Is it with wife and kids you work with?
Right.
Well, the kids don't work.
No. Yeah,
so the wife.
So I've got a wife and 3 kids at home.
Yeah.
And they keep me on my toes. But it's great. We get to have some great trips. That's obviously who I do it for.
Yeah.
Work hard and it's a great industry to be in. I've got a great support network behind me, and if there is an 11 o'clock call at night, then they're understandable. They get money out of it.
Well, exactly. Some of which are insane. We've been to some incredible islands. We'll talk about that very shortly. I want to get a little bit into the background, because now, as much as you've done so well, I can only assume that when you were younger, how old are you now?
So I'm 29 now.
29.
39.
39. No, all right, mate.
Yeah.
He said that. I went, all right.
Hang on. Yeah.
If we're going to lie, I'm 21. So we'll call it 29.
Yeah,
you're 39 now. You've been doing this for 10 years.
Yeah.
You were in this industry for how long?
So it's been a bit of a journey. So I left school. University wasn't for me.
Right.
Didn't know what I was going to do. So I thought, right, let's take myself a little break, and I worked as a lifeguard. Basically.
Right. Me too.
Pay the bill. Did you?
Yeah.
There you go. So
Yeah.
the Brentwood Centre.
I was at Virgin Active.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
And for me, it's great fun, great job. Just paid the bills, gave me a bit of spending money, and my friends were all at university, so it's kind of like, what am I going to do next? And I actually worked for Mark Warner Holidays. That's where I first started.
Right.
So I worked abroad in Greece and Corsica during the summer months as a lifeguard.
Yeah.
And then during the winter months, I worked for them again, but in a ski resort.
You were a ski instructor, right?
Ski instructor.
Yeah.
So I gained my ski instructor's qualification. So for me, that's kind of the intro into travel. I spent a couple of years working abroad. Amazing times, but obviously you can only do it for so long.
Yeah, before you go insane.
That's
yeah.
it, exactly, or your liver's packed in.
Yeah.
And I had a bad skiing accident.
Really?
Yeah, so I went out one day, hit a bump, and next thing you know, my head was down there, my legs were up there.
Oh, no.
And I hit the floor really, really hard. So luckily at the last minute, I turned my head, but it all went on my shoulder. My shoulder went 6 inches backwards, and if you look, I looked like an L. So
really?
So that was my skiing days over before they...
No.
So,
well, everything happens for a reason.
That's it, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I always look at. I always say that. I think every conversation you have, everything that happens, it does all happen for a reason. And I then thought, right, what am I going to do? Came back to the UK, still knew I had that bit of travel in me I wanted to do. So I took myself off on a gap year. I travelled through China, Australia, New Zealand, Fiji, Thailand, and then come back all over a year.
Getting your research done.
Getting my research,
yeah.
Exactly. And then come back to the UK, I thought, right, well, travel's obviously for me. That's what I've got that passion for. Had some great experiences, and but I need to get a job, a decent job. So I approached a company called Kuoni Travel, who many of you may have heard of, and very, very, very high-end company at the time. It was just doing 5-star holidays. And they had a store on High Street, Kensington.
Right.
So for me, I spent, as I said, 20 hours a week on a train. But putting that effort in, putting that commute in, that's what kind of opened the door to me to get into luxury travel. So that's where I was dealing with these big holidays. Obviously, Kensington, a lovely area.
Yeah.
And for going from a backpacker and staying in hostels to booking these holidays, which might have been £50,000, £60,000, it was a real eye-opener for me.
What's available.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I never knew the possibilities were there. I got to travel to some incredible places. But again, it wasn't quite for me. So I worked there for 3 years. And then I was actually approached by a company called 10 Lifestyle Management, who
Right.
looks after your Coots bank account holders, VIP clients, NatWest, whoever it may be. So that's another level on top of the Quona,
Yeah.
where you're dealing now with people who are spending hundreds of thousands
Yeah.
on their travel. It's private jets, it's front row tickets to New York Fashion Week, or whatever it may be. So that's
Incredible.
really kind of opened my ideas again to thinking, okay, I know how to deal with the luxury holidays, but you've got a concierge service as well that you can help people with.
Yeah.
And for me, the reason I actually left was it was a team commission structure
Right.
at that role. And I was over and above exceeding my targets. I think I made them £3 million profit over the 3 years. But when it comes to commission or bonus for me, I was getting nothing because the rest of the team weren't really doing it. And things like the ash cloud that come up, I was working overnight in the office to be there for clients who were stranded abroad, getting them back as quickly as possible. And as we said, I had that drive. I didn't want to get into management.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do anything else. So that's when I set up, obviously, Never Wasted Journey.
And here you are now.
Here we are now.
It's quite a poetic story of how it's all naturally and organically gone, well, okay, I didn't realise that was available. Or no, I can create this. And you've learnt about the industry and then gone, you know, forgive my French, but fuck it, I'll do it myself. And that's pretty much it, you know. Obviously, you never wanted to do, well, I'm assuming that when you were younger, it wasn't like, I want to be, you know, an exclusive travel agent.
No, never thought of it.
What was your dream growing up?
Pilot. So in a way, you've still got to be it.
I love it. This is the most poetic thing ever.
Exactly.
Okay,
So in a
okay.
way, that was my aim. But then, just life happens and you go down different roads and journeys. And then, it took me to where we are now.
That's incredible. So your outlook on life is very much like everything happens for a reason. Yeah. What would you say is your biggest mantra? You face some challenges over time, so what would you use when you get to those places when you're like, oh, you know, shit's hit the fan, I've just had to pay out $2 million a little bit, you know?
First of all, again, hopefully, I look back and think it can't get any worse than it has.
Yeah? God, you shouldn't have said that.
No, you say that now. I'm calling you tomorrow.
Yeah.
But for me, I just think it makes you stronger as a person. I think when it all first happened, don't get me wrong, everyone was having a breakdown. It's what's going to happen, how you're going to survive, but you get through it. And I think it's how you adapt. Obviously, at that time, I was lucky. I worked from home, so I had no overheads. I could keep my costs down, which is a perfect business model. A lot of my work is online, WhatsApp, social media, whatever it may be. So I didn't have the expense of a shop, a team of staff who I had to pay or possibly get rid of at that time. So for me, I think it's just, look, as we said, everything happens for a reason. You've got to dig deep, it makes you a stronger person. And it's learning from these examples. It's adapting to if anything does come up in the future and how you deal with it and you do it again.
Right. This is insane. So there's people that I know that are going to be watching this that are looking to do the same thing as you, looking to create the same kind of example that what you've set with your business and try and replicate not necessarily what you've done. How would you suggest somebody would start out in this?
Obviously, I'm happy to have a chat with anyone who is starting it, first of all, and try and give my advice and things like that. But I would just say you want to offer something different. I think there's so much out there which is run-of-the-mill. I look on social media, Facebook, whatever, and it's just plastered with offers of holidays. That's not what people are after now. I think they can go and see that anywhere. So it's really selling your value to them, these kind of experiences you can create. You've got to put in the hard work.
Yeah.
And I've had chats with a few agents recently who've set up maybe a year ago and they're not getting the business coming in. And I said, well, what have you been doing? Have you been going out there having conversations? You've got to put yourself in the right circle. And I think if you can do that and put yourself, whatever it may be, going to an event where you know there's going to be quite a few high net worth individuals, or putting yourself out, literally picking up the phone to your friends and have you got any holidays coming up, can I help you with anything? It's just constantly reaching out, looking at ways to get your name out there. And putting in the hard work. It's not easy, I don't think it is, and it's very obviously competitive market to be in. But if you're good at your job, I think people will pay you for that service.
Oh, 100%.
That's what you've got to prove to people, that you are there, why you're different. But I'd say, it's a great industry to be in if you can. And at the same time, I was having so many conversations with people about why should I use you? Why shouldn't I book it myself, or whatever it may be? And I used to just give them a business card and say we have a chat, but I wrote a book. So for me, it's offering something
because of all this free time he's got.
That's what I did in COVID. Literally.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
right. Okay.
People weren't travelling, as you say. It's I thought, right, I can either sit here, wait for it all to pick up again, or I can think, how am I going to make the most of this time?
Yeah.
And in this book, the idea of it is someone will come to me and ask how can I help them with their holidays or whatever it may be, and I'm like, there you go, read my book. And for them, they're like, hang on, immediately they're taken back because this guy, this travel agent, if you like, has his own book, which is different to anyone else, and it gives the whole story. So it's from backpacker to luxury travel designer of the year, and it just shares my whole journey of all the experiences I've done, how I've been there for people, the trips I've created, and then hopefully the idea was by the time they finished reading the book, they'll want to come and book their holiday.
What was the book called? Can I guess?
Never a Wasted Life.
You got me. Okay, you got me there. I love it. So, where can you get the book?
On Amazon. Yeah,
okay.
So you just go onto Amazon, download it, and it's a great tool for me because it's obviously keeping the name out there. It gives people the idea of the story, and there's no other travel agent or travel designer, whatever you want to call me, who's wrote a book. So I actually won an award for that last year as well for the luxury travel.
You've won a few, haven't you?
Luckily.
Yeah. Well, there's no luck. There's no luck. You're very modest.
Yeah.
So let's go through these awards that you've won so far today. One of them was the best travel agent, luxury travel designer of the year. Right. Okay. Cool. And that was
2023. But it's been a few. I think when I first started, I went for the local awards. I thought another reason, if anyone is starting their own kind of business again, put yourself forward. Don't get me wrong, I've got turned down so many times. I said no, but I just had that drive to keep trying, keep applying for awards, and I won the excellent customer service for the Essex Business Awards. And then Theo Pafitis from Dragon's Den.
Yeah.
I obviously went in for one of his categories that he had, and I was named one of his favourite small businesses. So you got to meet him, and again, that was great for branding because you got a picture with him, got to put it out on your social media platforms or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And then my name was starting to get out there. I was kind of featured in Essex Live and things like that locally, but then it went to another level where with the kind of volume of bookings I was doing, the experiences I was creating, it was getting kind of noticed on a national level. And I've won, I think, about 20 now over the years.
To see a shelf, honestly, reinforced.
That's it. But the best one by far was luxury travel designer of the year. Because that is about 63,000 agents in the country at the time, and I got number one. So for me, that just shows you that all the hard work is worth.
There's 63,000 agents in the UK.
Yeah, at the time of when I did the.
So there's probably more now.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
That's the thing you'll find a lot of people popping up, home workers, various different options and schemes they can go in. So to win that was incredible.
Yeah.
And that was good because that got my name out there again. I was getting approached by a lot of companies wanting me to go and see their hotels or going to this destination or coming to meet me. And so it's great from a business perspective, but also for credibility with your clients.
Of course, yeah. You've got a lot of credibility based on your social media. The first post that I saw is you pictured with Mr. Richard Branson, who is, you were a guest of Richard Branson at Necker Island.
Yes.
Right. Tell us about it, because many of us have probably never been. No. Maybe one day, but tell us about it.
So, well, for me, he's been a kind of inspiration to me over the years, especially with the travel.
Why is that?
Yeah, exactly. It's, and randomly, I got a call last year. I'd actually said to the wife and kids, right, we're not going to have any more holidays. We've done quite a lot this year. So that was a bit of an awkward one, first of all, to get round. But for me, I got this call, and it was from Virgin Limited Edition, who said, look, we've heard a bit about you. We would like you to come out to Necker Island. So I thought it was a wind-up.
Right, yeah. Okay. One of my mates,
exactly. Someone's having a bit of a wind-up on me. But for me, it was all true. And they'd heard my name, they'd heard it throughout the industry, and they wanted to invite a number of agents, only a handful, of the best agents in the country to go out and experience.
You were number one.
Well, touch wood.
Yeah.
And it was just great to be recognised for that. But also, I think everyone always wants to go and visit Necker Island.
100%.
One area where you think, look, that's on your bucket list.
Yeah.
And so, I went and flew out to Antigua, landed in Antigua. They put a private jet on to fly us out over to where Necker Island was. And when we were there, we were literally a guest of Sir Richard's for, I think it's 5 nights now.
Wow.
And it was a risk because you didn't know if he's going to be on the island. And I thought, oh my God, can you imagine being all that way and he's not there? Because where he's busy with business, he could be anywhere in the world.
Of course,
time.
Yeah.
But hadn't seen him, sat down at dinner one night, and they have a long table, so there's a couple of other agents and other guests who are there, and hadn't seen him. So I thought, oh, Joe, he's not going to be on the island, which would have been an absolute thing. All of a sudden, he appears, walks in the room, and I had a space spare opposite me, and he came up to me and said, oh, excuse me, is anyone sitting there?
You?
I said, no, absolutely not. And he sat down and did 2 hours just sitting there talking, asking about my business.
I bet you couldn't believe your luck.
I couldn't believe it. No. And it was just kind of, as you say, it's that bucket list destination. To meet him anyway is, he's a hero in a way.
Yeah.
For many reasons.
Did you tell him?
No, I didn't want to big him up too much.
Yeah. Keep him grounded. Yeah, all right, Richard, what do you do?
I know. But again, and I got that photo with him after the dinner, and that has launched Never a Wasted Journey as well, because they're thinking, right, this guy's friends with Sir Richard, or he knows him somehow. And again, great for branding, but a great experience. And over those few days, we'd be in a swimming pool, he'd come up and jump in, have a swim with us, have lunch with us, we went bike riding with him.
Yeah.
And then it was up to the last day, and I had a copy of my book with me.
Oh, incredible.
So I signed it. He'd left a copy of his book in my room. Thank you for coming to Necker Island, Richard Branson. So I wrote one back. Thank you for having me on Necker Island. Had a great time, blah, blah, and signed it for him. And I was having a chat with him one day, and I said, look, Richard, I hope you don't mind. And I was telling him all about my book. He was asking about it. And I think he thought I was probably after a sales pitch.
Right, yeah.
I said, I'd love to just give you a copy if that's okay. And he said, I'd be absolutely delighted to. Pats me on the back, really, really good idea. Well, anyway, he put the book down. I thought, he's got him for a swim. He's going to forget about it. He got out the pool and he was looking around. I thought, what's he looking for? And he walked right over the other side of the beach, picked my book up and walked back up the beach to his house where he lives on Necker Island. So I know my book is sitting in Richard.
Look at that. Okay. I love that.
For a reason. And you got an opportunity to meet him and spend time with him. And then on the last day, he came and said his goodbyes because he had to go off and do a space launch in Mexico, as you do.
Yeah, yeah. No, I know. He feels, yeah.
But again, and that's great because I've put myself there, I've experienced that. But again, it's another tool I can come back and sell that or put it out to my clients, which was their aim as well. That's how they wanted me to
You've given Sir Richard Branson a signed copy of your book. I love that. I love that. It's almost smug, but I love it. But it's a bit of a laugh, isn't it? You know, I do like that sort of thing. Have you read his book? Of course you have.
Yeah, incredible.
Of course you have. You got it framed at home, haven't you? It's in a glass cabinet.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, I want to ask you some questions about not just necessarily business, in life, because things aren't always simple. They're great for you right now, which is brilliant. What would you say in life so far has been your biggest challenge that you've overcome, your biggest hurdle?
It's a couple. So I lost my dad when I was 5 years old. So he passed away. So for me, it was growing up without that father figure, if you like. But it's something you deal with. And I think that makes you a strong person. He had a travel bug in him. He was an entrepreneur, had many businesses. He had property companies, gyms, even a reggae label. He had a real mix.
Really?
I think there's probably something in there that I maybe had without realising.
That entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is. And I think dealing with that growing up was tough, but I had a great mum. I've got a great mum who supported me well. I've got a good kind of network of friends and family as well. So you get through that. Then it's obviously bringing up 3 children. That's another challenge for me because obviously it's hard work when you're trying to run your own business single-handedly, especially when COVID happens.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
COVID is another one. But yeah, for me, I think life throws challenges at you and you can either give in, break down and let it all take control, or as we said, I believe that things happen for a reason. I've got a really positive outlook on life.
You've got an incredible spirit in there.
Yeah, well,
incredible.
That's what I think. You get one shot at life and you've got to make the most of it.
Yeah.
I could have still been working in London for the next 30 years, or I could have gone on this journey and seen where life takes me next.
Would you, if you're being honest, would you say that you've always had this, because you're very positive?
Yeah.
I know there's cameras around and stuff, but you like this off camera. So would you say you've always had this, or is it more so now because things are going well?
I think I've always been quite a positive, happy person in life, but there's one thing that I looked at that changed me. So when I was obviously growing up, it's quite a safe environment around you. You're doing your average day-to-day stuff. You're at school. You're with friends at the weekend, whatever it may be. So when I went off on that gap year, that's what for me changed me.
Really?
I was meant to go with a friend and had the comfort of, right, there's 2 of us going to go away now. We're going to enjoy it. A couple of weeks before we went, he backed out. He couldn't afford it. He hadn't been saving money. And for me, that was a choice. I could have said, right, I'm not going to go on the trip either, or I'm going to go and explore the world on my own. And if you go and do something like that at that
massive,
age,
yeah.
It's a big deal breaker, really. But I said,
so this is early 20s?
Yeah, I think I was, about 19, 20 years
right,
old.
Yeah.
So, and the place I was going to, China, places like that, Australia is obviously a long way away. They're completely out of your comfort zone. It's not what you're used to. But it's the best thing I ever did because you have to go out there and talk to people. And I was staying in hostels where you've got maybe 6 other people in the room, but you'll go out there, you have conversations, you're meeting people from all corners of the world, you're going out and experiencing these incredible experiences. And that's what really made me strong. I think you're miles away from anyone, you're on your own out there, and that was a game changer for me. So that really built up my confidence. And I think the world, as you know, there's so many different cultures and experiences. And once you go and experience them, it just opens your eyes to so many different things.
Yeah.
And that's what I've tried to kind of bring back with me and share with other people as well.
It's worked really, really well for you. It works in your favour, and you can see that. And obviously, that's going to rub off on you. How old are your children?
So they are 3, 5, and 9.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. And so they're going to follow Dad's footsteps, hopefully.
I don't know.
Is it a good thing? Who knows?
Now.
Yeah.
They're both convinced they're going to be playing for West Ham, unfortunately.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Well, good luck to them. I like the aspirations.
Yes.
They've got very similar aspirations to you, by the sounds of it. Your dad was a very entrepreneurial person.
Yes.
Sadly, you lost him when you were 5 years old. Various different businesses you mentioned.
Yes.
At what age do you think you started looking into that? What did Dad do? Because obviously you wouldn't know at 5.
No, exactly. Probably, I think I was a bit curious, maybe around 14, 15, a bit around that age, maybe a bit older, just asking a bit. Or I was quite lucky because all the people who got around us, they were always telling me stories and things that he did. And that was probably when I started to ask some questions. And then obviously I went away, did my thing for a couple of years. And then when I come back and I was really looking at what I was going to do, I wanted to know more about it. And having other conversations with people who knew him and getting a bit. And then again, it was just for me. I thought everyone has to just get a job. You can't start your own business. I thought it's too much work in it.
Yeah.
So I probably took the easy option. Just went there. But looking back on it, it's again the best thing I did because it gave me that experience. It opened my eyes to the wider world. It got me those contacts, and I've taken that forward. And for me, I probably had that drive inside me without realising until I set up the business, and then you realise how much hard work it is and what has to. And it's not easy. It's
of course.
Everyone's got their own business. There's so much that does go into it, but now I look back and I don't look back. It's something that I just want to look forward now. Take it next.
Which is a brilliant outlook to have. You mentioned you had lots of people around you from your dad's network, basically, that told you some stories. Yeah. What would you say is your favourite one you've heard from them?
Funny enough, this is going to sound really bad now.
No, go on.
So when he had all these obviously different businesses he was doing, he always wanted to open up a travel company.
Right.
And he was going to call it Virgin Travel. And at the time, Virgin Travel didn't exist, and he got a letter from Richard Branson saying, if you open this travel company, I'm going to sue you for everything you're worth.
Did you tell Richard that?
No, I didn't.
Come on. I would have.
I've been chucked off the island.
Yeah.
So it's funny how it all goes round, and it's not me going against his back and now seeing Richard and things like that.
Wow.
But it shows you that. So for me, I was thinking, wow, that was him wanting to open a travel.
Yeah.
He didn't get the chance to do it, so maybe I've taken that bit forward and done it on his behalf.
100%.
So,
do you not? I mean, you must see how madly coincidental that is.
100%.
That's insane.
Yeah. For that to happen, and then there's me with my own travel company, a different name, but on his island.
Yeah.
And it's again, as I said, everything happens for a reason.
Everything is supposed to click. So, what was your dad's main work? What did he do? Obviously, lots of things.
So, yeah, lots of things. So, very, very successful in property. He had gyms and health clubs in London. He had his own music company where he actually had Bob Marley in the studios at some time.
Incredible.
So many, many years ago.
You might be flying Dylan out one day. You never know.
Exactly,
yeah.
So it's things like that were really okay. He was ahead of the curve at his time. He even I've seen things, you have a memory box and things like that. So I was looking through it, and it's this idea, and he wrote it down. And it was people would buy tickets, and you buy a ticket, and if these numbers come in, then you'll win a Rolls Royce or something like that. And it went on and on. And it was basically the idea of the lottery before it happened. And now you look at it, and again, the National Lottery and how well it's. I think he had that mindset where he had that drive and these ideas that were floating around in his head and just things like that. You just think that's why I always think to be different. You don't want to be the same as everyone else. And
what an incredible mindset to have. Do you mind me asking what happened?
Yeah, cancer, unfortunately. So, but as it is, it's that's life again, and but you deal with it, and it makes you a stronger person, and then you hopefully take some parts of his life and move forward with it.
What's his name?
Philip.
Yeah, I can see a lot of Philip in you. I've never met Philip, but I can see a lot of him in you. I can see the transference of that entrepreneur. I was going to ask you where does it come from, but there's no doubt in my head. Subconsciously, you've just found it. You've just got it there, and you've smashed it out the park. That's incredible. You must be so proud of that.
Yeah, I am. I think it's hard work, as we said, but when you really put the effort in and you get these awards, or you can look back at where you started with a handful of clients, and now I've got clients who are booking with me all over the country. I've got people in Sydney, Dubai, New York, Cape Town, one going Nigeria. It's just, how have they heard of me? But
that's
the name out there.
That's the thing, isn't it? But it's like, for example, going to Necker Island. What do you do? Oh, this guy's this company, and next thing you know, you're in South Africa. Exactly. Someone's mentioned your name, you know. And it's I know it sounds silly, but it's quite a good name. Never a wasted journey. It sticks in your head, I think
it's, as we said, I didn't want Dan's Travel. I wanted something a bit different.
Yeah, Dan's Travel doesn't stick as much as it. Right. Good old Dan. Dan's Travel, you know what it is. Sounds a bit dodgy, actually. Exactly, Dan's Travel. What's the next step for you? Because obviously you're a one-man band. Do you intend to stay that way?
Oh, that's the point I'm at the moment. I think for me, I'm very protective about my clients. Obviously, the service that I offer is very, very unique. There's not many kind of agents out there, if you like. It might be a 9 to 5, and then once that's shut, you won't speak to them until the next day. Whereas for me, I'll be having WhatsApp conversations late at night. I'll speak to people at 10 o'clock. I even offer a home visit service, which is quite unique. So instead of people having to come to me, I'll go to their house. So they can have their friends over, we can get some wine, canapes in, they might be going on a large holiday, and we'll speak about their travel plans in the comfort of their own home. And there's no one who's doing these things.
Right.
Different. So that's one thing.
You're giving away all your secrets now.
Here we go.
I know, nightmare. But no one's matched it. Because if they were, they would have by now, you know?
Yeah. And I just think for me, it's so that's one reason. Obviously, the flexibility that I offer. You've got to think, okay, if you're going to expand, who is going to be able to do that? First of all, they're going to be out on a Friday night, absolutely smashed, and not being able to do the work side to it. Are they going to be able to have a chat with someone on a Sunday? So that was one thing. But to take it to the next step, I think I'm going to have to, because I need to still offer my clients that same level of service.
Yeah.
I do. And if you're getting more and more inquiries and bookings that are coming in, then that's taking you a bit away from them. So I'm looking at it in two ways. One, do I get someone who just handles all the admin for me, at least?
Yeah.
Do all of that, take control of all the bits that take up all the
But that's the
time.
very important stuff, you know?
Well, that's the thing. And then the concierge side to it, for me to then be booking restaurants for people, and that takes up more time. So if I could get somebody who could, one or two people who could just take control of that for me, that's good. Or you look at taking somebody on who could deal with the lower end bookings. So they can just manage your bread and butter that's gradually coming in.
Yeah. And
then you really focus on your hiring clients, the more complicated experiences and the ones that are your big ticket items, if you like. But again, a lot of the clients, they don't book with Never a Wasted Journey, they book with me.
Well, this is what I was going to say to you. We'd all be further ahead if we had two of ourselves or three of ourselves. It's the issue. Finding someone that has the same passion and care for a business that you created, it's not impossible. And if it is someone that passionate, like the wife or something like that, you both have the same amount of time to share with children. So it's very difficult. You mentioned the sort of lower end, like bread and butter bookings. If people are looking to book with you, is there a...
So for me, there's no, I say that, but I deal with all inquiries that come in. So that's the issue that I've had over the years. People look at these trips I've created and look at my website or social media and they think, I can't afford that.
Right.
And it's a big put off to people. So that's something what I've had to kind of overcome. And don't get me wrong, I can still do the big holidays and the more expensive ones, but at the same time, I'll have people who'll be going for a couple of days in Dubai, maybe a weekend in Europe. I even do UK spa hotels. So it hasn't got to be those big holidays, if you like. I'll cater for all budgets and ideas. And I'm always honest with people. So if someone comes to me and says, look, I've got this quote on TUI, it's a 3-star hotel, all inclusive, I'll be honest with them. And I'm not really going to add any value to that.
Right.
And I'll be honest and say, look, thank you for approaching me, but you're best just to go and that's going to be the best option. If it's something I feel that, no, I can add some value or I'm going to be able to offer a good, strong quote for them, then I'll do it. So I'd say anything from 4 or 5 star level upwards. I wouldn't say 3-star because I haven't got any expertise. I haven't got the contacts in it. I'm not set up with that level hotels. But yeah, people come and spend maybe 5,000-6,000 on a holiday and some will go up and spend 150,000 plus,
which is insane. We'll talk, obviously, again, no names, but there's footballers, there's influencers. I don't know what. There's actors. It's insane. What is the most incredible holiday you've booked? Oh, if you can talk about it, that you've booked to date.
So the one probably that got me started, really got my name out there, if you like. As we said, the first year was tough, booking for friends and family, and one of my friends, and the thing that I did actually stood me out at the start was with all my contacts around the world, I was speaking to these hoteliers and saying, look, what are we going to do? I want to offer something different to people where they don't have to pay, I don't have to pay, but they're going to get something more for their booking. So what I would do is have a chat with every single hotel. Every booking I made, I'd have a chat with them, or if I had a contact there, I'd pick up the phone and say, look, I've booked these people, they're coming out, what can we do for them? And every single booking at the start in that first year who did go away, they got to their room, they had a bottle of champagne waited in their room, they had chocolates or strawberries, they get a room upgrade, they get a late checkout, they might get a complimentary spa treatment or a private beach dinner. So things like this, they're getting all this added value, which I still do to this day.
Yeah.
Still, every single booking I do, I'll pick up that phone and have a conversation with the hotel. So people get in there and their friends are booked their own way. Their friends got there and got the room overlooking a car park. And they'd have their room up with a sea view, bottle of champagne, plenty of space. And they were just immediately, every time I left a note, thank you for booking with me, have a fantastic time, best wishes or whatever, Dan, never a wasted journey. So they went online, took a picture of their bottle of champagne and their view or whatever and posted it on Facebook or Instagram or whatever it would be. And then other people think, well, hang on, we want this for my holiday. Why are they getting
Of course,
it?
yeah.
And that's how it kind of got the wheels going with the company. And then one celebrity picked it was a mutual friend, and saw one of these posts. Started following him on Instagram, and I thought, God, that's weird. This guy's what? Is this real? Or is it?
Yeah.
They had how many million followers following them, and he approached me, and he wanted to propose to his girlfriend at the time. So he came to me saying, "Look, I've heard a bit about you. I'd love if you could help me," and blah blah blah. And he wanted to come up with something completely unique, really wow factor, really out there. So he went to the Maldives, and what we arranged, again through the kind of experiences that I'd done and what I knew was possible, we did a private sunset cruise for them. So they had their favourite kind of music being played, they had champagne, they had canapes. They then exclusively hired an underwater restaurant where they had their own chef who cooked a 7-course meal for them. Again, they had their favourite music in the background, and then we had 2 scuba divers swim past the window with a sign saying, "Will you marry me?"
I love it. So, that's incredible.
Really cheesy, but
whose idea was this? Yours?
Mine. Yeah. So he comes to me with a blank page. I don't know what I want to do. This is where we want to go. I want to do something special. What do you think?
I'm glad you've not named them, because otherwise, hang on a minute, that wasn't your idea.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What's going on? And,
wow.
And for me, it was just. It worked, and the good thing was it was actually filmed, so they could have it as a memory when they were doing it. So
advert for you.
500,000 people it went out to. So he put it out on his social media platforms at the time, and it went to 500,000 people. So my followers then on social media shot up. But on those lists, when you look through them, it was celebrities, it was Premier League football players, people who were in the England squad, and about 6 days after, I got an inquiry come in, and a guy booked a private jet to take 3 of his friends away and spent £60,000. So from me going from say £2,000 or £3,000 bookings, that jumped it up, and off the back of that, again, is how I've got people who now spend what they do on their holidays.
I love it.
So it's that one, as you said, everything happening for a reason. If it hadn't been for that mutual friend or that in the room, I wouldn't have had that person, and I wouldn't be where I am now. And again, it's going out, having these conversations, as we said. And it's this year, really, I had a really good conversation with this guy. He has introduced me to a number of football agents in the UK, and I'm now dealing with Premiership managers, Premiership players, England players, and everyone would have heard of them. I can't say their names.
No, of course,
reasons, but it's that level I'm dealing with now. And okay, that's a small window because you only have a certain break with them, and it's very last minute. It's kind of going away the next day. But that's what I love. There's something different every day. You don't want the same kind of run-of-the-mill stuff. But I'm always looking for those next conversations. And where's it all going to come in from next?
What's your holiday, your favourite, apart from Necker Island, what's your favourite been so far? Because obviously you're going to use your skill set for yourself, right?
Absolutely. And I think that's another perk of the job, because you get to go and see these great places. I love travelling. Anyway.
It's research. Got to do it. Got to do it.
Exactly. And there's probably been a couple for I was never really big into wildlife, to be honest, but I've been on a couple of wildlife trips which have been absolutely incredible. I've done safaris in Africa.
Wow.
I did gorilla trekking in Uganda.
Yeah.
I was just yards away from a family of gorillas, which is so out there and unique. I got invited as well, a similar kind of thing to the Richard Branson thing, by a guy called Mr. Who is a a billionaire out in Singapore.
Right.
And his company had heard of me. Again, they'd heard my name coming up, and he owns a number of hotels all around the world. A couple of these are in the Maldives, but he wanted to invite, again, a handful of agents, the best agents in the UK, to come out to Singapore, and he owned the rights to the Singapore Grand Prix. So he flew us out there business class, he hosted us at his hotel, and he gave us VIP access to the Singapore Grand Prix. So we were
oh my goodness.
Walks, so it depends on the experience. Don't get like, these are just incredible experiences. But again, it's the kind of thing that I can now come away and offer people.
Of course.
And it's these dreams are getting ticked off the list. And I've spent the last 3 weeks in the Maldives, island hopping, and I've done European.
It's been tough, huh?
It has been tough, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm working.
I get it.
But the problem with that is you can never switch off.
Yeah, and you can never necessarily enjoy a holiday because you are. Of course, you can enjoy it, but you are sort of like, oh, that'd be good to. You got to make a contact. If you're in the Maldives and you meet somebody that's, you know, one of the floating bars or something, you're like, I need to know who you are.
Exactly right, and that's the thing. And I had a client the other day call me after 5 years out the blue, and I was in Grenada, I was in the hot tub talking about it, just holidays and what do you do, and I said, well, look, here's my business card, if I can ever help you out, let me know. Didn't hear anything, thought, okay. 5 years later, he's got in touch to book a really special trip for him and his wife for their anniversary, and he kept my business card from that day.
Wow.
So it's things like that, you never know where a conversation's going to lead you, and when you are there, you can see what hotels are good, what ones aren't so good, what added benefits there are, what unique experiences there are. You get to see a lot of the rooms, but then obviously at the same time, you've still got to deal with your business, and being a one-man band, you can't be, okay, I've got someone who's going to take care of that while I'm away. You have to do it. So
of
for
course.
me, before Wi-Fi on planes, that was the only time I could ever switch off. When
On the plane. Yeah.
Because you couldn't do anything.
Always long haul with you, isn't it?
But that's
You know?
I just sleep.
Well, you need to, especially with 3 little ones. Blimey. You are you able to get upgrades on flights then?
The airlines have got a little bit more
Strict.
since coming out the back of COVID. And I think before, you were travelling business class, you were getting free nights at hotels, wherever you wanted to go in the world. Now, since COVID, they've really reined it in, so it's difficult. But it depends on the trip and who's hosting it. If there's an airline involved, then they'll put you business class, which is a great experience in its own.
Yeah.
But no, a lot of the companies have had to get more strict now.
Really?
Yeah.
What about chartering jets? That's quite easy, isn't it?
Again, it's something I never used to kind of deal with or
Right.
ever imagine I would. But yeah, now it's really in demand, and especially for that higher end level, their time's short, so they want to maximise their time they're going to get away. They don't want to be spending time with the hordes in the airports and things. They just want to get from A to B as quickly as possible. They like that lifestyle as well, as they want that bit of kind of style.
Your own terminal,
That's
you know.
it.
Yeah.
Like people, what time do you get to it? They get there like 10 minutes before the aircraft. And they've got their catering on board, quick flight, they're there, done.
Yeah.
So that has got really, really in high demand as well. Private charters, private boats, helicopters. So if you've got people in Monaco, for example, they're travelling around by helicopter, and it's just another level.
I might have to hit you up for some of this stuff. I love all the magical sort of things.
Yeah,
as
I said, it hasn't got to be that top level.
Yeah.
That's the message I really struggle to get.
Yeah, I'm not spending 150 grand with you, mate.
No. But these experiences can be had whatever.
Yeah.
So as we say, I know we touched on it before, the kind of meet and greets and things that I do. You can be travelling on a commercial flight, and I can still offer you that exclusive terminal away from the crowd. So there's things that you can do, and these trips, once you decide on your destination, I think once you've got that narrowed down, then it's down to me to design the rest of it. And introduce you to these kind of unique experiences.
I love it. I love how the simple is that you are just, I don't charge the consumer. No. I make money from, and you're transparent with it as well, which is quite nice. A few questions before we finish.
Yes.
This is going to be a really tough one.
Go on.
Where would you say, if anyone could go wherever they want in the world, where would you say somebody has to go and see?
Oh, that is a tough question.
Yeah.
That is a very, very tough question.
Could be top 3 if you want. Okay, make it easier.
That might help.
Yeah.
So, is budget any issue?
No, just whatever you think is, you've got to see it. Because realistically, if it's a location,
yes, of course,
it shouldn't be too big of a problem.
So for me, I think anyone can go and do a beach holiday. They're great for whatever you're doing. But the number one, if you want a beach holiday, would be the Maldives.
Yeah.
You have to get to the Maldives, just because that's the one. I've been 4 times now, and every time I go, it just blows me away.
Right.
I think it's that white sandy beach, crystal clear waters. You've got turtles swimming around. You've got these unique water villas over huts.
I love the slides coming off. They look incredible. In fact, I'm sure you shared a video with it about. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's what I saw it recently.
Yeah, but it opens your. That's a real get away from it all, relax. But at the same time, we went, as we said, the last couple of weeks, and we were having private beach cinemas popping up. We were having floating breakfasts, private dinners under the stars. It's just a real magical experience, and I think anyone, don't get me wrong, Dubai's great. You can go and do that. So for a few days, I do it myself. But if you want that real wow factor holiday and something that you will really remember for the rest of your lives, Maldives would be number 1. Number 2, I would say, would be a safari holiday.
Yeah.
I think for that's just so unique. And it depends what you're doing. If you're going to, say, South Africa, you can link it in with Cape Town. You go and see Nelson Mandela's Island, meet his former prison guard if you want to for a chat or dinner. But a safari, again, it's just that real wow factor moment. I think everyone sees it on TV or in a zoo or something. But being there, seeing them in the natural habitat is absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Always recommend that. And then 3... Necker Island.
Yeah, you got to say it.
It's just, I think it's on that bucket.
Is it accessible to the public then?
So with Necker Island, they have 2 options. You can either go and hire it exclusively, which is great for very, very high net worth.
Yeah, it's going to say that must be millions, surely.
It's $150,000 a night.
Yeah, all right.
So that's one option.
Fancy it? Yeah.
The other option is for certain way, which not many people know about, and it's a way of getting on Necker Island without having to spend that amount.
Okay.
And they open it to multi. You haven't got to take it exclusively. You can go on when there'll be other people on the island. So what you can do is, say you want to go on your own, or it's going to be a group of friends who want to go. You can go and you'll spend $4,000 a night compared to $150,000.
Of course, yeah.
So you might want to go on there for 4 days. Okay, you're going to spend $16,000, but you're on Necker Island. And that's a bucket list item to tick off. And the only difference is you're still having exactly the same experiences. You're still going to be able to meet Richard Branson if he's on the island, but there's just going to be other people there.
Yeah.
Well. But when I say it's not hundreds, there's probably still only going to be 40 people.
I was going to say it's low capacity, isn't it?
Low capacity. So there's little ways round where you can get to these places. Or say someone hasn't got a safari budget in peak season, then go just out of season. You're avoiding the crowds. You get much better prices. The weather's still great. And when you're on a wildlife holiday, it's all about seeing the wildlife anyway. So it's these tips I can give people. And if anyone ever wants to chat about any holiday plans, then please, obviously.
Which I think you're going to have a lot of people ask now. I hope you charge like phone rates because you're going to be on the phone for hours. What's the best way for people to contact you?
Yeah, so obviously neverwastedjourney.com.
Yeah.
My website's got all the contact details on there. Or again, you can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever that may be. Or simply pick up the phone. I'd love to have a chat with anyone who wants to talk about any.
Such a nice guy, aren't you?
Thank you.
Honestly. Right. Couple more things.
Yes.
You have got such a great outlook on life. You have your own book, but I will ask, is there any book or anything that you learnt that you recommend other people that might be looking to do what you've done or that in their own industry that they should read or look into?
Everything keeps coming back to Richard Branson here, but for me, Richard Branson's a great example.
Yeah.
Any of his books, whatever you decide to do, it's just a great story for him. The thing that I didn't even realise is that he's actually dyslexic as well.
Right.
So the kind of things that he's overcome, people can relate.
When you say as well as you? Or...
No, not as well.
Right, okay.
General,
yeah.
I wasn't aware of that. And when you look at, but it's funny because when I was talking to him, you could tell he wouldn't have a conversation looking in the eye. He was looking around, and that's because he actually told me this. He said he can't look at someone in the eye when he's having a conversation with them because he can't take it all in. He's looking at their lips moving, he's looking at their eyes, but he can't register what they're talking.
Right.
So little things like that, and you think the things that he's overcome to be as successful as he is, he's a real inspiration. Again, the kind of things that he's created, what businesses he started up, everyone has hard times, and he puts that in there. And again, it's just how far you can take it. As we said, we get one shot in life, and
of course.
make the most of it.
And he's had a success every single, apart from Virgin Cola, he's had a success everywhere. But I love that. I love the whole story behind all that stuff. I think it's brilliant. What was the other thing the stunt he did as well? BA Can't Get It Up.
Exactly.
Oh my God, that is incredible. If you don't know what we're talking about, Google it. It's so funny. I love that sort of tongue-in-cheek stuff. Is there a motto you live by in life?
You only get one shot at life.
Eminem. Yeah. 8 Mile. Yeah. Okay, awesome. Right, last but not least, this is the Dash book. You might have recognised it from previous episodes and stuff. So you are welcome to write whatever you want in here, whether it's a question for the next guest or your own motivational quote, whatever it might be. So I'll leave you to write in there whatever you'd like to do. But thank you so much for coming.
No, thanks everyone.
It's been brilliant, mate, and I'm definitely going to be hitting you up for a holiday soon. Make sure you do as well. Never a wasted journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.